is designed to say that all of that happened by happenstance would be far less believable than a higher singular power.
Yeah, so I don't believe that something came from nothing. I believe that something has always existed, and I can actually prove that pretty easily by just demonstrating that time has always existed. If time has always existed, that means the universe has always existed because the universe is made of space-time. So here's the argument, and you either need to reject one of the premises, or you need to accept the conclusion that time has no beginning. The first premise is that a beginning is a change of states. The second premise is that a change of states is a change. The third premise is that a change requires a before and after. The fourth premise is that a before and after requires a past, present, and future. And the fifth premise is that a past, present, and future requires time. So do you reject any of those five premises?
Let's go through them one more time if you want it one at a time.
Yeah, so do you accept or reject that a beginning is a change of states?
Yes, a creation point is a change of state.
Just like a beginning in general is a change of states. Yeah. Well, that's fine. Yeah. Creation is fine. Yeah. A change of states is a change. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Do you agree that a change has a before and after?
Correct.
And do you agree that a before and after has a past, present, and future?
Correct.
And do you agree that a past, present, and future requires time?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so then we would have it that in order to have a beginning, we must have time already existing, which means time itself cannot have a beginning, because if it did have a beginning, that means that time would already exist. So that means that if time has a beginning, then time existed before time existed, which is an obvious contradiction. So that means that time has no beginning, which means that the universe, I don't believe that something came from nothing. I think the universe always existed, and it seems like you would as well, insofar as time has always existed and the universe is made up of space-time.
Well, so the only thing about time is more of reference, right? Reference constraints.
So how do you think that responds to the argument?
Well, you're saying that because time always existed, that therefore nothing created it, which I 100% see where your argument stems from, without a doubt. And it's very well articulated as well. So good job.
Okay.
The only issue that comes up with it is when we're talking about time, it is our reference. If even if you look at it dimensional, right? Because you want to talk about time space as a dimension, our perception of a higher, just like a first dimension, whatever, can't comprehend, can't move, can't see through to a two-dimensional plane. 2 into 3. 3 for us, we live in a third-dimensional world, but would time not be part of that fourth dimension? Does that make sense? Or am I articulating that well enough for you?
I think I'm a bit unclear. What implication do you take that to have?
That for us on this plane of existence, like in a three-dimensional world, a three-dimensional observable universe, that time it's not something that always existed. It may be our reference point, but it's the constraints of how we perceive that fourth dimension that we cannot fully comprehend yet.
Wait, but you just accepted all of the premises that would lead us to believe that time has always existed. Otherwise, you would run into time existing before time existed.
No, so again, you use time space as a well, go ahead and use I'm trying to think of the
space time. So insofar as time has always existed, that means space has always existed, because the fundamental substance of like the universe seems to be space time.
Well, so don't get space and the lack of confused, right? So when we're talking about space, we're not talking about the astral bodies. We're talking about you're referring to the void of nothingness, correct?
Well, I'm just referring to space-time, the physics concept. Are you familiar?
Yeah, loosely. Not my background.
So, insofar as time has always existed, that means also space has always existed, which means the universe has always existed, which means the universe doesn't need a creator.
Okay. That's a very interesting point. I think that I would have to do a little bit more research to be able to go head to head with you on this one.
Okay. Do you have anything else for me, or should I move on to the next guest?
I'll let someone else talk for a little while.
Yep. Yeah, appreciate you coming on up here. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. Let's get all the way up to 25K likes. If everyone left 10 likes right now, we would be there already. Make sure you're dropping a follower, though, or a follow, so you never miss a single live in the future. Share it with your friends, drop a comment, all that good stuff to get it in front of as many people as we can. What's up, Jesus? How's it going?
Hello?
Hey, how old are you?
18.
What year were you born?
2000.
2000. That's cap. Only request to join if you're 18 or older, if you have real arguments, i.e. you actually want to debate, and if you think that you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran. Hey, what's up? How's it going? How old are you? Corin? Okay, I accept your surrender, Corin. C-Bar, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Just keep on double tapping on that screen. Let's get all the way up to 25K. We got this.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Fran? How's it going?
Hi, I am 19 years old and
Yeah.
I'm a Christian.
Yeah, so what's your strongest
So-
argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Okay, so I want to know what's your point of view towards
If you're off the app, I can't hear you. You need to remain on the TikTok app, otherwise your mic cuts out. Fran, return to the TikTok app immediately. Thank you, appreciate it. Wait, what were you asking? Oh, okay. I accept your surrender, Fran. Folded like a chair, scrambled like an omelet, formatted like a hard drive. Get your ankles absolutely shattered. You will never debate again. If you want to support the stream, the Venmo's allegedly-ian. The Cash App is just allegedly Ian.
can you hear
Both
me?
are in my bio. You are definitely not 18. Only request to join if you're 18 or older. Chaired like a chair, omeleted like an omelet. What's up? How is it going? How old are you?
I'm 20, born in
Okay.
2004,
And what religion are you?
Christian.
Okay, so what's your strongest argument for the truth of Christianity that does not involve personal experience?
Just going to church, I guess. Well,
Okay.
not personal experience.
Yeah.
I don't know, just being on earth.
Yeah, so why does being on earth mean that God is real?
It doesn't. I'm not
Okay.
gonna. If you believe in God, you believe in Him. I believe in God. So that's what I'm saying.
Gotcha. But do you have
And
any arguments for why that belief is true?
It's not really me trying to argue my belief true or not. It's me really just trying to spread the word.
Okay, well, I'm really only looking for debates, so only request to join if you have real arguments, and if you are 18 or older, and if you're Christian, Muslim, or Jewish. Hey, what's up? How's it going, XOXO?
Hi, I go by Shuri, sorry, and I am 23.
Okay. And what religion are you?
Oh, I'm Christian, sorry.
Okay. So
I
what's your
actually-
strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
So, you were talking a little bit earlier about like how physics is real and how that means that time and space are theoretically infinite, right?
That's not really the argument, but sure, I do believe that time and space are infinite.
Right. So the concept of God is basically that he is a celestial being, or this being that's outside of our physical concept on Earth, and he exists outside of space and time, and he basically created it. So I mean, it's to each their own. If you believe that there is something that had to create space and time, then you believe in a God. But if you don't believe that, then it is what it is.
So the contention is just going to be that I think it is actively impossible. It's literally not possible for there to be a creation of space and time, and I'll walk you through this. You either need to accept that time can't be created, or you need to tell me which premise you reject. So there's 5 premises. 1, creation is a change of states. 2, a change of states is a change. 3, a change requires a before and after. 4, a before and after requires a past, present, and future. Or 5, a past, present, and future requires time. Do you disagree with any of those, or do you need those one more time?
No, it's not that I disagree with any of them. It's just that the concept of God, and I'm not trying to insult you or anything. I'm just being respectful. But the concept of God is outside of those rules, and he is not bound by the rules that we see on earth. And it's definitely, I used to be atheist, so it's definitely a hurdle that you have to jump over and kind of be open-minded enough to accept that.
So then God's illogical, is what you're saying, essentially. So I guess the question becomes, could God make a rock that's so heavy he can't lift it?
No, because like I said, he's not bound by these rules and these constructs that we are. It's kind of an impossible ideology that people approach, and the only way that you're able to approach it is by faith.
So it's impossible. So your worldview is like foundationally illogical. So faith is just a belief in the absence of evidence. It's pretending to know something that you don't actually know. Why would I ever want to pretend to know something that I don't actually know?
It's not necessarily something that you don't actually know. It's just something that you believe in. It's the belief in something that's improbable, because of, you want to believe in something good, and you want to believe that there is a beginning and an end,
It's not the belief in something improbable, it's the belief in something impossible. Logical contradictions aren't improbable, they're impossible. It's not possible that we have a circle which is also a square. It's not possible that a ball is 100% red and also 5% blue. These aren't, it's not improbable, it's impossible.
It's impossible in the space that we're in right now. It's impossible here while we're living on earth. The belief in God is you just have to believe that there is something further out there. So it's definitely hard, and I totally understand. I do have to go, but I enjoyed this conversation. So
Yeah,
thank you.
appreciate you coming on up here.
Thank you.
Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, all that good stuff. If you want to support the stream, Venmo's allegedly-ian. The Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Appreciate any and all support. Thanks all so much. Also, if you want to join way too much background noise. Sorry, I apologize. Only request to join if you're 18 or older, if you have real arguments, and if you're Christian, Muslim, or Jewish. If you're not that, probably not going to talk to you. But keep on double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. I brought up two people at once. Brennan, wait, how old are you, Brennan?
18.
And what year were you born?
May 28th, 2006.
Okay. Well, and what religion are you?
Christian.
So what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
I just want to know, do you think humans have always been here? How do you think humans came about?
Well, I think we came about via evolution. How do you think humans came about? Do you think we've always been here?
God created us. I think God created us.
So if God created us, why would he create us so inefficiently? Our DNA is mostly comprised of junk. Like 75% of our DNA is just completely worthless. Why would God create us so inefficiently?
Well, I guess I haven't thought about it like that. I'm not really sure, but
So it seems like we have strong evidence that God didn't create us. And we also have strong evidence that evolution happened. You can look to how our second chromosome is the fusion of a chromosome that's shared by the other great apes. So it seems like we shared a common ancestor with the great apes.
So you think we used to be animals?
We still are. Humans are animals. I mean, unless you think that we're like fungi or like plants, then humans are animals.
That's like the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
And it would be really stupid to say that we're like fungi or plants, which is why we're animals.
Okay. Well, why okay, so why do we okay, well I guess
Will, thank
all
you
right,
so
well,
much for the $3 on Cash App for Classic Ian dunking on Theist. Appreciate it. W Will in the comments section. Appreciate that, Will. Oh, we got a runner. We got a track star. I accept your surrender. Folded like a chair, scrambled like an omelet, reformatted like a hard driver or like a hard drive. Get your ankles absolutely shattered. You will never debate again. If anybody else wants to support the stream, the Venmo's allegedly-ian. The Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Appreciate it. Any and all support. Appreciate any and all support.
What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going? How old are you?
I'm old enough, man. I'm not going to tell my age. That's just the information plea. But let me tell you like this, though. God is real. Yahuwah, his name is encoded in our DNA. That's been proven with science.
Prove it.
By your science. Just Google it. It's science.
I've already Googled it.
So
Prove
Google
it.
Another thing, evolution is only a theory. Let me tell you something about evolution.
Don't pivot.
Can you stop cutting me off, bro?
Don't
Stop with your
pivot.
agenda
Wait, don't
pushing.
pivot
Stop cutting
away.
me off.
Don't pivot away. Let's just stick with the one thing that you just said.
Dude, this
Can
dude
you
don't shut up when people start telling
can you
the truth.
demonstrate could you demonstrate the claim that you just made? And I understand that you're getting upset because you can't prove
Bro,
the claim
I'm trying
that you
to
just
talk
made.
and you're just cutting me
But you're
off.
just pivoting away. You're trying to spit out. You're trying to gish gallop, trying to spit out like a million different points and jump
I
from
only
point to
said
point
two
to point.
things. Yahuwah's
Let's just
name
stick.
is
Yeah,
encoded
but
in our
if I don't
DNA.
cut you off, you're going to go to a million
Yahuwah's name
different
is
points.
encoded in
I'm
our
just
DNA.
asking
Science
you.
proves that.
Can
Evolution
you
is
give
only a
me
theory.
proof for
It
that?
has never been
Can you
proven.
give
It
me
cannot be
proof
proven
that
with the
it's in our
scientific method.
DNA? Can you give me proof that it's in our DNA?
Google it. Scientists
I
have
already Googled it.
encoded in our
I've
DNA.
already Googled it. It's not
His
real.
name, Yahuwah,
I've
is
already Googled
encoded in our
it.
DNA.
It's not real.
When they
It's not real.
assign numbers to letters, and you Google it and you look it up, scientists literally
Already
proved
looked it
his
up.
name is
I've already
encoded in
Googled
our
it.
DNA. So
No, it's
stop
not.
lying to all these
Can I
little
get a
faggot
source?
weirdos, bro. Stop lying to them,
no,
dude.
you
Yeah, you're
can't
a
say that
faggot
word.
weirdo. Stop lying to kids.
Aw.
Stop lying.
Yeah, I've never heard that one before. Damn, bro got blown the fuck out so much that he just like started short circuiting, falling back on his dialogue tree. Aw, that's too bad. Hey, what's up?
Wow.
How's it going? How old are you?
It's going. I'm going to be a little nicer than that last fool was.
Hopefully. I mean, it shouldn't be too hard. But how old are you?
I'm 51.
Are you covering your microphone by any chance?
No, is that better?
Yeah, that's much better.
Okay,
And
okay.
what religion are you?
I'm Christian.
Okay, so what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Well, okay, if you put it that way, does not contain personal experience. How about the fact that people's lives are saved every day?
What do you mean by that? In what way?
Have you ever rolled up on a car accident and seen someone that you thought would be unalive for sure?
Our bodies are quite resilient, and also our medicine is quite advanced. I feel like that's a much better explanation. But what about all the people who didn't get saved? For example, half of all people who ever lived were unalived by malaria. Like literally 1 in 2 people of all the people who ever lived taken by malaria. That's like 60 billion people. What about all the people who weren't saved?
Do you believe in God's will? I mean, you don't believe in God, but do you believe in God's will at all, or do you believe in?
I would. No.
No? What about fate?
No, not really.
So
Depends what you mean by fate, but I don't think so.
Well, believing that things happen for a reason.
Depends
You
what
don't
you mean
believe
by
there's
that.
a reason. You don't believe that there's a reason for things that happen in the world, or mainly, I mean, I think a lot of it is we're overpopulated. So what happens when the world is full?
Oh, so nature actually just sorts itself out. This comes from a field called differential equations in mathematics. So there's a carrying capacity based on like the amount of resources that we have. And if you try to go over the carrying capacity, the amount of resources will just restrict you from doing so. It's not possible for the world to get like overpopulated.
Right, and why is that? What stops
of
it?
Mathematics, like carrying capacity and like a lack of resources. The environment, amount of resources in the environment only allow for like X number of humans. So if you try to go over X number of humans, it's simply not going to allow it. And however many people will be unalived to drag the number back down to X number of humans.
I think that's just, that's day-to-day life. Something's got to happen to bring the number down. So we agree with that. But if there's no God, what's our creation? Who created us? How are we here as people on earth if there's no God?
I think we came from evolution, but if God made us, then it makes you wonder, why would God make us so inefficiently? Like 75% of our DNA is completely useless. It just sits there and does nothing. Why would God make us so inefficiently if God created us?
Well, I think it's a learning thing. You go through your life and you learn how to use your God has created. I mean, you learn how to navigate through life. You learn how to react to things or not react to things as you go through life. So, I mean, without there being a creator, you say we evolved. What was the first creation? What did we
Well, I don't
evolve
think that it
from?
was a creation, but I do want to. So I think we all came from like a protocell, which came through a process of abiogenesis, or at least that's what all the evidence seems to point to. But what you just said doesn't really respond to my point. My argument for why God could not have created us is just because 75% of our DNA is completely useless. It does nothing. Well, if God created us and He designed us perfectly, why would He make specifically our DNA so inefficient?
Maybe we're the ones that are inefficient. Maybe it's been there the whole time and we can't see it. Whatever
See
we're
what?
lacking, whatever we're lacking in life. You're saying that we only use 25% of our brain cells, basically, is
That's
what you're
not true.
saying. What are
No.
you saying?
So do you know? So okay, everything about you, every one of your cells expresses itself in like a different way, slightly. And the way it expresses itself is based on the DNA that it contains. This is like the information that gets like, for lack of a better term, it gets like read through and expressed in like a specific way. And that determines what each of the cells in your body does. For example, your eye cells do a different thing than like your skin cells do a different thing than your bone cells. They all do like slightly different things. We
You sound
actually
like
don't know if bones are cell. I'm no, whatever. I'm not gonna. And this is all determined based on your DNA, right? But your DNA is extremely inefficient. 75% of your DNA is just completely and totally and utterly useless. So if God designed us perfectly, if He made us perfectly, why would so much of our DNA be completely useless?
Well, you got me there. I don't even know what to say. You got me. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, to be honest with you. I don't really know. That's one of those things that, there's a lot of what ifs in this world that we live in. What if, there's a lot of things. So to say what if that leaves a lot of things in the air. Wouldn't you agree?
What do you mean? What's the what if? I'm confused.
Well, you said what if,
Oop, we got a runner. I accept your surrender, folded like a chair, scrambled like an omelet, reformatted like a hard drive. Get your ankles absolutely shattered, you will never debate again. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen. Let's get all the way up to 50k likes. If everybody left 20 likes right now, we would already be there. Just keep double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friend, dropping a comment, all those other things. Make sure you're dropping a follow if you never want to miss a debate in the future. And if you want to support the stream, Venmo's allegedly-Ian, and the Cash App is just allegedly Ian. What's up, Mark? How's it going?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah. How old are you?
Okay. I'm 30.
30. And what religion are you?
Okay, so technically I don't practice a religion.
I'm only looking for people who are Christian, Muslim, or Jewish. If you're not Christian, Muslim, or Jewish, I'm probably not going to talk to you. Only join if you're 18 or older, and if you have real arguments that do not involve personal experience. If you don't, probably not going to talk to you. What's up, 22? How's it going? 22, are you there? Oh, okay. I mean, I guess you could come up if you're Hindu. I just don't really know anything about the religion. Hey, what's up? How's it going? Are you driving?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you also can't be driving. Nate, thank you so much for the $5 on Venmo. Need more people doing what you do. Appreciate that. W Nate in the comment section. That's really cool. Hey, thank you so much. Appreciate that, Smug. And with that, we'll go to the very next guest. Hey, what's up? Oh, you sound a little bit young. I'm probably gonna just go into the next one. So let's get all the way up to 50K. We're almost there. Just 10 more likes from everybody else, and we get that. Damn, nobody. Just keep on double tapping that screen. If you're 18 or older, consider joining the Discord. Link in bio. What's
God
up?
is real.
You are not 18. I need you to be an adult. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older. If you're not 18 or older, probably not going to talk to you. Share it with your friends. Double tap on that screen. T, thank you so much. Appreciate that. Hey, what's up, Ellie? Or is it just L? How old are you? L? Ellie? Okay. Damn. We're having rough rolls today. Hopefully we get somebody in here soon. Sorry it's taken so long. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Mo?
How are you?
Doing well. How old are you?
51.
And what religion are you?
I am not. I was
Okay.
raised Catholic. I went to an.
I'm sorry, I'm only looking to debate people who believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran. If you do not believe in the God of the Bible, the Torah, or the Quran, I'm really not looking to debate you. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
How's it good?
How old are you?
13.
You gotta be 18 or older to request to join. Damn, we're struggling with our listening comprehension. If you're not 18 or older, don't request to join. If you sound like a kid, don't request to join. What's up, Christy? How's it going? How old are you?
I'm 32.
And are you driving right now?
No.
Okay. And what religion are you?
I believe in God.
But what religion?
Grew up Pentecostal.
Are you still Pentecostal?
I mean, I kind of believe in some Baptist and all Pentecostal.
But you think like Jesus is the Son of God, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. So what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Oh, well, that's what I was going to say. It's kind of a personal experience. I did see him. I was dying.
Yeah, wait, but I want like something that's not personal experience. Will you be able to provide that, or should I move on to the next guest?
I guess you should move on to the next case.
Okay. Well, appreciate you coming on up here. Yeah, only request to join if you have an argument that does not involve personal experience, and if you're 18 or older, and also if you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran. What's up? How's it going? Is that a turn signal I hear in the background? Hello?
Hello. How are you doing?
Sounds like you're driving. Sorry, you can't be driving either. I don't know why. It really feels like there's not so many rules, but it seems like we're getting somebody who violates like one of the rules every single time. What's up, Shaggy? How's it going?
Yes, bro. I'm in mobs, me, bro. You see that?
Yeehaw! Thank you so much. Wait, Shaggy, how old are you?
Hey, do you want to hear my explanation? Now, it ain't really
Wait, Shaggy, wait, can I ask you how old you are?
19.
Yeah, and what religion are you?
We'll call it Christian, innit?
Sure. Okay.
Well, no, I don't really believe in it.
Oh, okay. So I'm just looking for people who are like Christians or Muslims or Jewish. So if that's not you, sounds good. That's just not really what I'm looking for in a debate. Only request to join. Again, if you are 18 or older, have real arguments that don't involve personal experience, and are Christian, Muslim, or Jewish. So I'm genuinely sorry it's taking so long. What's up?
What's going on, Ian? How you doing?
Doing well. How old are you?
I'm 28.
And what religion are you?
I'm Christian.
Okay, so what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
I feel like, everything serves its purpose. Like the sun is here for a reason. Water is here for a reason. Everything serves its purpose. So think about it. We created cars for what reason?
Well, we created cars for transportation, but can I ask you about the purpose of a couple of things? So, what's the purpose of malaria?
The purpose of there's no purpose for malaria. I feel like
So
there's
everything does not have its purpose.
well, malaria is a sickness, right? Disease, right?
Yeah.
I feel like that could be prevented with knowledge. The Bible says that we are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
So why didn't the Bible also say that the reason that you get this specific disease is because of mosquitoes, and the way that you can prevent this is through quarantining and sanitation and like mosquito nets, and then give like an explanation about how to build a mosquito net? Why wouldn't the Bible give them that?
It just wasn't put in the Bible. Not everything is going to be put in the Bible.
But so insofar as malaria has taken the lives of 1 out of every 2 people who have ever lived, literally half of the population has been unalived by malaria, like 60 billion people. Why would God not put this advice in?
Because
I'm sorry, I think I said 60 million, 60 billion with a B.
Wait, can you repeat that? I'm sorry, repeat that.
Yeah, so 60 billion people have been unalived by malaria. That's 1 out of every 2 humans who have ever lived. Why would God not put in basic advice on how to not get unalived by malaria?
Not all knowledge is going to come from the Bible.
But why wouldn't God put that information in? That seems like super useful information.
Think about it. When the Bible was created, all the information that we have now, we have new information in this day and age than what we had when the Bible was written. We're constantly evolving as humans. God is constantly giving us knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That's why it wasn't put in the Bible. We're constantly getting new knowledge as we evolve as humans.
But that knowledge didn't come from God. That knowledge came from science and germ theory. So God didn't lead us to the explanation about what malaria is, where it comes from, how it spreads. We came to that understanding. So
What makes
unless
you
God,
think that
God wants us to be unalived by malaria, why would he make malaria and not give us advice on how to stop it?
So you're saying we don't have advice to stop malaria?
God certainly didn't give us the advice on how to stop it.
So we don't have we can't stop malaria. We don't know how to prevent malaria.
But we do know how to prevent malaria, but God didn't give us that advice. That advice came from humans, not God.
What makes you think that though?
Because it was discovered by humans and the treatments were developed by humans. The Bible doesn't mention malaria a single point in it. I seem to forget that point in history where Jesus came down and started like synthesizing cures for malaria in the labs.
I think I understand what you're saying, but I just feel as though wisdom comes from the Heavenly Father. It comes from, see, the thing is,
yeehaw, thing's critical.
Hold on.
The thing is what?
So is your only argument that God doesn't exist is because of malaria? Is because of diseases?
Well, that's one argument,
diseases
right?
that can be prevented?
That's one argument. Certainly, that it's super weird that malaria being a scourge upon the human race, and God doesn't give us even like basic advice on how to stop it. He could have saved literal billions of lives if he did.
But I feel that, right? But at the same time, he has given us knowledge to prevent these things.
But we didn't have this knowledge for 99% of human history.
And you're right.
So first of all, God didn't give us this knowledge. We discovered it on our own. But second of all, even if Jesus was the one who discovered malaria and was like telling us about how to cure malaria, if the scientist was actually just like Jesus in disguise, but he like shaved his beard or whatever, even if that's the case, there was still 99% of human history where we did not have this information, which means that God would be responsible morally for not preventing these people from being unalived by malaria when he very easily could.
And you're right. But does that mean God doesn't exist?
Certainly it means that he's not all good. If God could have given us basic advice to prevent billions, with a B, billions of people being unalived by malaria, seems pretty immoral to not do that. Yeah, definitely.
So do you not believe in judgment? Do you believe in what do you like things like
What do you mean by judgment?
Like for an example, like what you sow, whatever you sow, you shall reap. Or do you believe it? So are you? You don't. You're not. You do you subscribe to the Bible? Are you?
No,
Do
I
you
don't
believe it?
subscribe to the Bible. Certainly not. No, I don't think God is real, which means that I don't believe in the Bible either.
Well, okay, I understand it. I understand. We just got two different point of views, you know. So
Yeah, it seems like we have like a point of view that has like evidence and arguments and a point of view that doesn't. So do you have any other arguments or should I move on to the next
I
guest?
mean, like I said, I just feel like everything serves its purpose.
Except
The
for
sun.
malaria, of course.
No, malaria. Okay, malaria was create. The reason why we have malaria is to show, you know.
Oh, we got a runner. I accept your surrender. Folded like a chair, scrambled like an omelet, reformatted like a hard drive. Get your ankles absolutely shattered. You will never debate again. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, doing all that good stuff. What's up, Tatiana? How old are you?
Hey, I am 26.
Okay, and what religion are you?
Well, I guess you can say I'm a Christian.
Okay, so what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
Really? Like, I came on here because I'm like, did you fully do your research on the Bible? Because the whole Bible is based off of personal experience. So how can you not accept people to come on and share personal experiences if that's the whole point of the Bible?
So I would need evidence that the supernatural things in the Bible actually happened. But what I don't want is like people's individual anecdotes of like that time when they were, about to be unalived and then Jesus came down and stopped it. Because if these things happened to me, I would probably still be an atheist. I would probably find like a naturalistic explanation for it. I don't want personal experiences. I don't want personal anecdotes. I want arguments. I want evidence.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to be able to give you evidence, unfortunately, because it's just based off of personal experience. So have a great day.
Well, yeah, appreciate it. Hey, if you're in that guest request box, make sure that you're 18 or older, that you think God is real, specifically the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran, and that you have real arguments. You have real proof for why God is real. If not, I'll probably just move past you, but make sure you're dropping a follow so you never miss a single debate in the future. If you want to support the stream, the Venmo's allegedly-ian, and the Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Both of them are in my bio. Jay, what's up? How's it going? How old are you?
Yes, good day to you. My name is, my age is actually 30. I'm in my 30s.
Okay, and what religion are you?
Well, I am a follower of Christ, it's not necessarily a religion, but you can say Christian.
Okay, yeah. So what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that doesn't involve personal experience?
All right, well, as you can see, the way how we come about as human beings, I mean, we didn't have any say on if we're a man or a female. We born in a particular country, born with a skin color. We didn't have any control over that. It was a divine being that brought us to existence, and the person who we are, even you, I mean everyone. That's why God is love, because you could be anyone in this world. You understand me? And you could be living in anywhere in this world. So God have a divine plan for everyone, and He is the grand creator of everything. Human
Is
being.
God all just?
If He's all just,
Is God all just?
yes, He's righteous. He's righteous. He's righteous.
So
judgment. He's
if
holy.
God is all just, then why possibly would He create some people and these people are literally Albert Einstein, and then He would create other people and these people have like developmental disorders that cause them to be unalived by the age of 3? Why would God do that?
All right. So first of all, God give us free will. Secondly,
Wait. But how does free will? So where does free will come into that?
All right, hold on. That's why you have to listen me out. All right.
Yeah.
First of all, yeah, He gave us free will. Secondly, you have to remember we was born in sin and shaping iniquity. You understand me? Because we did disobey God. He have a perfect will for us, and He always good. You understand? And then we
Wait,
disobey
but
God.
I thought God was the one who made us in our specific continents and our specific like races, and God's the one who
yes,
made all of
definitely,
us.
definitely.
So I'm just asking, if God's the one who specifically chose all of the traits that we possess, why would God make some people Albert Einstein,
No,
and
no,
God would
no,
make
no.
other
Listen, we
people
have free
have
will.
developmental
Listen,
disorders that cause them
if
to
you
be
see a
unalived
book
before the
there
age of
and you
3?
take
Why
up
would
the book,
why would God choose this life for one person, but like the being unalived at 3 life for a different person? Why would God do
no,
that?
listen what I'm trying to say. And that's have to do with
Wait. I
spiritual
just need you to answer
curses.
the question, because you gave me 2 things that don't answer the question. You talked about free will. I'm
What
not
is your
sure. I'm not
question?
sure. I'm not sure how
What is
free
your
will
question?
has anything to do with
What
developmental
is your question? You wanna
disorders.
ask me? Come on. What you wanna say? You wanna ask me if why God makes some people die and one guy God make some people alive? That's what you're asking?
No, not at all. No. I'm asking, so if God chooses the traits, why would God give specifically like a genetic disorder that causes people to be unalived by the age of 3 to like one person, but wouldn't give it to another? That seems extremely unjust, that he would treat these 2 people arbitrarily, like
God
completely
don't choose it.
unfairly.
Listen. God create everyone. And listen, what you have to understand, there is family curses. God say, listen, if you didn't know, there's a spiritual part that we don't understand, and that is God. You know, we do have family curses in the family that do make this stuff happen. It don't have to. It don't have nothing to do with God. God say you will look until the fourth and the third generation. You have to understand that in the Bible, actually, even David, first child, he actually died because he disobeyed because of sin. If you
So
didn't
I
know,
just have I have a clarifying question. So what you're essentially saying is that the reason somebody's child is born with like a developmental disorder that causes them to be unalived at an extremely young age is because there's a generational curse against that family?
it can be a lot of things. It's
Wait,
spiritually,
but why
God, the
would
answer
God
have to do
choose
with
to
God.
why what
No.
did the child do to deserve that treatment?
No, this is what I'm trying to tell you.
Wait.
You
What
have to
did the
understand. Do you
child do
believe
to
in the Bible?
deserve?
Do you believe in the
What did
Bible?
the child? Wait, I'm not going to let you pivot away from this. What did the child do to deserve that treatment?
I'm trying to ask you. I understand what you're saying, and that don't have nothing to do with God. If you didn't know,
No, but it
you
does,
have to
because that means
remember
God is
people
unjust.
make their
Because if the child,
decisions.
if God is giving punishment to a child who did nothing to deserve it, then God is not just. If God is not just, then Christianity is false, because
All right, let me
it
ask you
says in
this.
the
Let me
Bible
ask you.
that
Can
God
I
is
ask you a
just.
question? Can I ask you a
Wait, I
question?
just asked you a question. What did the
No,
child
you
do to
asked me a
deserve this
question, but I'm
treatment?
telling you that God is perfectly just. Perfectly.
So what
You
did if
understand?
God is perfectly just, then what did the
Yep.
child do to deserve this treatment?
All right, let me ask you something.
I just asked you something.
No, the child. Did you know that
Wait, I just asked you a
your
question.
action? Listen,
I just
yeah,
asked you a
I'm
question.
answering your question. Did you know that your action also rub off on your generation? If
Prove
you
it.
sin or if you do wicked things, it
Prove it.
also rub off on your generation.
Prove it.
God is fear.
Wait.
That's why he say
Prove.
we should be
Wait.
good and do good.
Jay, prove it.
Huh?
Prove it.
No, I can prove it. That's why I asked if you
Yeah.
believe in the Bible. And the
Wait.
Bible have
So
all these
you
answers.
can't prove the claim that you're making. So the evidence would
No,
seem to
I know it. I
indicate
know
that
it for
God
sure.
is
I
not
mean,
the one who's making people and deciding on their traits, insofar as your explanation, as you admit, has zero proof to it.
no, listen. If you did have a little bit of understanding, you would understand that God, with the way how this world was created and everything, there have to be a God.
Why?
There's no
Oh,
other
so we're
way
pivoting
or
all the way
explanation
away from the
for the
argument.
sun, for the moon, for everything.
And why do these things need a God? Why? Explain.
Because listen, obviously, let me ask you this. Did you the universe, the sun, the moon, and the star and everything, isn't that proof of there is a existence beyond our control, a superior being?
No, not that there's evidence for a God. No, I don't
No,
think
so
so
I
at
may
all.
ask you this. How could the sun be created? Man could create the sun?
No, I don't think the sun was created. I think that the
Of
sun
course the
came
sun
about
was
via
created. Then
physical.
what you want to
Can
say? The sun was just
Jay,
here?
wait, Jay, can I answer the question? So, I don't think the sun was created. I think it came about via physical processes, wherein atoms came together and underwent like fusion reactions with each other to form the sun. That's how I think the sun came about. Where do you think the sun came from?
I think the sun. What I don't think the sun was created, and I can tell you why. Let me tell you, the
Why was
moon.
the sun
Listen.
created to give us skin cancer?
Hold on. Let me just say this. You think God is responsible for every bad thing that happened?
Well,
God
wait,
give
so
us
if
free will
God
as
created
human
the
beings and we
sun,
disobey Him. That's
if
why we're living in sin right now.
if God created the sun and the sun gives us skin cancer, then God is
That
responsible
don't
for
have
the
anything to
existence
do
of skin
with
cancer.
God. God
Wait, so if I
provide
create a
light
bomb and
on the
that
earth.
bomb kills a lot of people, then I would be
So let me ask you
responsible
this:
for
God
all of those
responsible for
people
you
unalived.
going out and killing somebody and shoot up a school? God responsible for that? God responsible for a police to kill a woman in his house?
Certainly not, because you can say that
No,
that's a
then
result
what
of
are you
free will.
saying? You have to
Because
listen.
this is nature being evil to us. Whose free
Yeah,
will?
but
Who freely chose to
my
get
friend.
skin
Listen, my
cancer?
friend. God is not responsible for the
You're getting
wickedness of
angry, Jay.
mankind.
Let's calm down, Jay.
No, I'm calming down, sir.
Yeah,
You have
yeah.
you have
So
to
whose free
understand.
will is
I don't want you to
responsible for skin
misrepresent God. It's
cancer?
kind of get to me,
Whose
you know.
free will is responsible for skin cancer?
Go again.
Whose free will is responsible for skin cancer?
Free will? If free will is responsible for skin cancer, you are free. If you know that the sun can give you skin cancer, you're gonna go in the sun for a
So
day.
what about the
That's free will.
99% of humans who didn't know this in their time? That because the information that the sun gives us skin cancer is quite new,
God
but
is
skin
not
cancer has
responsible for
existed
these
for a very
bad
long
things that
time.
happen to mankind. Did you know God created us perfectly before we sin? We
Prove
couldn't
it.
die,
Prove
but we
it.
sin.
Prove it.
The proof is in the proof is God, because God is
Prove it.
existing
Oh,
forever.
wait, so
Let me
so
tell you the
God
proof.
wait, so
If you
so
don't even
God
believe in the Bible,
exists
I'm going to prove it to you.
because God
I'm
exists.
not going to use the
Perfect.
Bible to prove this to you.
Oh
Listen,
yeah, so
God
could
is
you
all
so if you're not going to use the Bible to
Hold on.
prove
You want me
that
to use the
cancer
Bible?
is because of
Because you
sin,
don't believe in the
well,
Bible. I don't know.
you need to prove that the Bible is true first, and in fact, I can just go ahead and disprove the Bible.
Of course, the Bible is true. The Bible is inspired by
If the
God.
Bible is true, then do you think the flood
It's his book.
happened?
Yeah.
Do you think the flood happened?
The flood?
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. So
Nobody-
if the flood happened, then how did the kangaroos get to Australia?
Listen, don't ask. That's
You have no idea. You can't answer. You will never be able to answer the
You're trying to
question.
be smart, but come on now, come on.
Wait, you don't have an
really don't-
answer.
You know it don't make sense.
That's
It
a
don't
really
make
good
sense, the
question
you're
because you don't
asking.
even have
know
an
that.
answer to it. You have no answer.
No, but it obviously have to do with population. Come on, man. Come
Yeah,
on.
wait. So
We
where
have
did
to do with that.
the
Evolve
how,
it.
so how does just the word population explain how kangaroos got to Australia? You have no
Let me ask you this.
idea.
How long the
Wait,
world
wait.
was
I just wait,
existing?
wait,
We're going over
Jay.
2,000
Jay, I'm gonna
years.
need
You're really
Jay.
gonna
I'm gonna
ask
need an answer to my question, Jay.
kangaroos in Australia? You're
Jay,
serious?
I need an answer to my question. How did so if the flood
have to do with-
happened? If the flood happened, then how did the kangaroos get to Australia? Just answer the question, Jay.
All right, you may answer that question. That
Yeah.
have to do with. Let me tell you. That have to do with, obviously, it have to do with population. You have to do
What
with,
about population?
with the life going on. I may ask you this: how did you get to where
I
you
just asked
are
you.
now?
Wait.
Where
What
are
about
you in USA?
population?
How did you get to USA?
What about
How did you get
population?
to United
What
States
about
of America?
population?
You may
What
ask
about
you this,
population?
how did you get to United States of America?
Well, so I mean, I was
it makes sense.
born
You
here,
see the
so
question don't make
that question
sense?
doesn't make much sense. But
I'm trying to tell you.
well,
the
wait, but I'm just
question
asking
don't
you.
make
So
sense,
wait,
you're saying.
what about population gets the kangaroos to Australia? What about population?
I just want to tell you that God is real. I don't have
You have
time
no
to answer
idea.
this
You have
stupid
literally
question.
no
I want
explanation at
your
all.
soul to
You
be
are
saved.
clueless. You have no idea.
Listen.
You have no
remember
idea.
I
You
told
can't answer
listen.
this basic question.
No, that is not a good. That is a stupid question. No.
Oh, so if it's a stupid question, then you should be able to explain how it's a stupid question.
No, but I'm telling you, that's why I asked you. How did you get where you are now?
I was born here. So how did the kangaroos get to Australia?
All right. So the kangaroo, obviously, somehow the kangaroo reached in Australia and they populated there. Obviously.
Yeah. So
you're
how?
gonna ask
But
me a
the question:
question
how
like
did
that.
they get
Come
there?
on.
Because wait, how did they cross the ocean?
No, listen, that is a stupid question.
How did they cross the ocean?
Please,
How did they
don't
cross
ask me
the
that
ocean?
question. I know you're sensible than that. I know you're not fool. I know you're
Wait,
just
but
trying
then
to
just
be,
answer the
you
question.
know,
It's a really good
hard-headed.
question, actually.
I do think you believe in God, and that's the
Wait,
thing.
you have no answer to the question. How did they
No,
cross
but
the ocean to get
listen,
there?
you know it's a stupid question.
I
Come
don't
on,
know
come
it's a
on, my
stupid
friend.
question. I think it's a really good question. And the fact that you can't
All right, let me
answer it
ask you. All
proves
right,
that it's a
so
really
I
good
did not
question.
answer your
I'm not
question
gonna
when I
let you
tell you.
wait, I'm
Obviously,
not
the
gonna let you
kangaroo
pivot away
reach
from
in
this question,
Australia and they
Jay. I'm not
populated
gonna let
here.
you pivot away from
That
this
is not a.
question,
Hold
Jay.
on. That's not a obvious answer to you.
We got a pivoting Perry over
The
here. Jay,
kangaroo reach in Australia
how did
and
the
they
kangaroos get to
populated there.
Australia? How did they
That's
cross
not
the
that don't
ocean?
prove.
How did they cross
Listen,
the ocean,
God is
Jay?
real. That's what I'm
How did
here
they
to
cross
prove
the
to you.
ocean?
Listen, God is real. This is
I
what I have to
understand your
prove to you.
conclusion,
And
Jay.
you
I
can
just
see
want to
that God is real.
know,
I know you see
Jay.
it.
I just
You
want to
see
know
it.
how did the
I don't think you
kangaroos
should take
cross
no
the
other call
ocean?
after this. You know God is real.
Jay, I don't
You
know
know
that
God
God
is
is
real.
real, and a really good way to prove that is
And that's
because the
the
flood
thing.
didn't
And God
happen.
is gone. Yay. Listen, I
So
want you to
you have no
repent.
answer to the
I
question.
want
So
you to
we
do
will
better.
proceed with the
Please don't create
understanding
a show
that
and
the Bible
discredit
did
God.
not happen because the flood did
That is
not happen.
not that is not a
Perfect.
good show. God is real, my friend.
I
And
understand your
he's coming
conclusion.
back
You haven't
very
proven
soon.
that, and in fact, we have lots
He's
of reasons
coming
to
back
think that
very
that's
soon.
not true.
And you know it's true. I mean, the soul,
I
God
don't
created
know
all
it's
of us
true.
inside your heart. You know deep down.
I don't know
I'm
inside my
telling you
heart that
right
it's
now,
true.
if you're in a bad situation and you're
Wait,
probably
Jay, do you have
sick,
any
you're
arguments,
gonna
or is it
ball out
just
for
okay?
God. You're gonna realize that God is there. I bet you cry out for Jesus.
Are you done?
You know?
Do you have any arguments?
No, I prove that God is real. If you don't want to accept it, I don't know what to say. You know, but have a blessed day, my friend. And I hope
Yeah, that's okay.
somehow
No, I understand. We got a running
I
Randall over here.
No, I'm not running. You know I'm not running. You just being
Yeah, we know
hard-headed
so
and
hard that
hard-hearted.
you
And
we know so hard that you aren't
even Pharaoh,
running,
when he see
that
all
you
those miracles and God was showing
refuse
him
to
all
answer
these
the
signs
basic
and
question.
wonders,
Why can't
be hearted. It's not
answer
listen,
a
it
basic
is
question?
not unusual for a
Why
person to
can't you
harden their heart.
answer a basic
You know?
question?
And all I can tell you is
Why
repent,
can't
my
you
friend.
answer a basic question?
I answered every question you give me already.
Yeah, so
Everyone. You
here's
asked me how the kangaroo reached in Australia, and I tell you,
that you will never
obviously,
answer,
the
Jay.
kangaroo reached in
Jay,
Australia and populated.
so
I can know exactly how it reached here, but obviously it
when
was
did the
there and it
kangaroo
populated there.
cross the body of water? And how did they cross the body of
You know,
water?
listen,
Through what
I think
method
you
did they
know you're
cross the
losing
body
up.
of water?
Listen, you know there is a God. Just go and repent, please. Go
I
and
don't know
repent.
that there's a
I'm
God,
asking you
Jay.
again.
We got a
You know?
psychoanalyzing Stephanie over here.
You know, I know you know God is real.
We got a coping Corey
the
over here.
Bible.
I don't know that God is
All His
real.
creation
In
show
fact,
that
this
He's real.
conversation has given
His
me strong
creation
evidence that God
show
isn't
that
real.
He is real. He
Wait,
is
Jay,
who
do you have any
He
more?
is, the
Jay, do you
great
have any
King
more
of glory.
arguments? Do you have any more arguments, or
Yes.
do I need to move on to a guest who does?
No, listen. I already
Do you have an
proved to
answer
If
to
you
the
want to move
question?
on
Are
to
you
another guest, you
willing
can do
to
it.
engage
I already proved
engage
to
in
you,
a
my
good
friend
faith
Ian.
dialogue with me
Ian, you
by
already
answering the
know that there's a
questions, or
God.
do
If
I
you want
need
to
to
move
move
on,
on? Do I need to move
I answer your
on to
questions.
somebody
Why
who?
didn't I answer?
Sure.
Why
So
didn't I answer for
the
you?
question that you didn't answer is how did the kangaroos cross the body of water to get
Yeah,
to
and I answered.
Australia?
Listen, you may answer at the same
Yeah. Wait.
time.
So
All
how
right.
did they do that? Explain
Obviously,
that.
listen what happened. The kangaroo, you know, obviously reaching Australia and they populated there.
Yeah. But how did they reach Australia? How did they reach it?
Listen, how did you reach where you are now?
Well, I was born here.
Where do you live?
I was born here, but
You didn't have any control over that.
my
God is
descendants came
great.
over here
If
by
God can
boat.
let me ask you this. If God can create the sun and the moon, why can't He put a kangaroo in Australia?
Oh, so you think that? So okay, so let's just get this straight. So you think the order of events was in the beginning there was nothing, and then God said abracadabra, and the world appeared, and then He said alakazam, and all the life on earth appeared, and then He was like, I don't really like the way things are going right now. So He said bippity boppity boop, and then the kangaroos appeared on the ark, and then He said what are some more? He said Shazam, and then the flood showed up, and then He said like Expelliarmus, and then the flood lifted away, and then He said alakazam one more time to teleport the kangaroos back. Is that roughly your understanding of the order of events?
I'm telling you, God is all powerful. He created heaven and the earth. That's what He did. It's beyond your knowledge of to understand who God is. You cannot put the great God in your brain. You will be confused. You understand me? You have to try to seek Him.
I already have tried to seek Him. I used to be a Christian.
Prove that there is a God. There's a lot of
I've already tried to seek Him. I've already tried to seek Him.
Well, and that's the thing. You didn't seek Him with all your heart and all your mind.
I did, Jay.
Part of you right now.
I seeked Him in the heart of my heart and the mind of my mind. I seeked him, and there
You
was
will not
nothing.
find God if you have doubt. Faith move the mountain of God, the kingdom of God. If you don't have faith, the kingdom will not move.
Yeah,
That's the
well, but
first
I
thing.
used to believe in God, Jay. I used to have no doubt.
No, you didn't believe with all your heart.
Oh, because you
If you
know my
believe in
life
God with
story
all
better
your
than I
heart,
know
you
my
will
life
find
story.
him.
Why didn't I just think of that?
You should believe him with all your heart. Right
I
now,
did believe
you
him
don't
with all
believe.
of my heart,
Like how you're
Jay.
fighting against
I
God now
did
and saying
believe
it's not
him.
real with all your
I
heart.
did
If you
believe him,
put that
Jay.
same effort
I did
to
believe him.
prove that God is real,
Jay,
and
do you have any
believe in him, you'll find
real
it.
arguments, or would you like to speculate
No,
more?
this is a great
Would you like to
argument. You
speculate
cannot.
more about my own
You're
life?
listening. This is a great argument. If you want to move on, you can move on.
Okay.
I wish you the
Well,
best. I
sounds
wish
good.
you
Yeah, I
find.
appreciate it. Well, make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. Make sure you're dropping a follow as well. If you want to support the stream, the Venmo's allegedly-ian. Cash App is just allegedly Ian. Hey, what's up? How's it going, Isaac?
Hey, it's going well. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, how old are you?
30.
And what religion are you?
Christian.
So what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
So curious what you think on this argument, but what I believe is the best argument is the proof that Jesus existed. So, historical accuracy or historical text that he existed, and the martyrdom of his disciples proving his divinity.
Okay, so what's the evidence that his disciples were martyred specifically under the premise that he was supernatural?
Yeah, so the premise that I would say is, let's say, so Jesus lives 30 years, has 3 years of ministry, dies at 33.
Yep.
At that point, you have the disciples who, I believe, 10 of the 12 died in martyrdom. I think only 4.
Could you prove that? Wait, could you prove, what's the source for 10 out of 12?
Judas was one of the 12 who...
But what's the source?
That's a great point. I think I would have to look at the text of the source of which ones.
The source is the Bible, so you're essentially using the Bible to prove the truth of the Bible. So in order for me to accept this argument, accept this historical evidence for the Bible, I must already believe in the Bible.
So there are historical records because there are, out of the 10, 4 were, there's more accuracy, there's more historical accuracy of those 4 dying a martyr's death. And there's, I believe, 2 historians that document that. So
no, that's not the case. So if you're referring to Josephus and Tacitus, so Josephus, I believe, or it might be Tacitus, I forget. So one of them, the problem is going to be that it was actually a doctored source, that mentions of Jesus actually didn't appear in the original work and was doctored in some 600 years later. And for the other one, this person lived 300 years after Jesus did, which means that I'm probably not going to trust the account of it. And I have good reason to think that the Bible isn't true insofar as the Gospels contradict themselves. I would just ask you, was Jesus executed on Passover? Or the preparation day for Passover?
I would say during the Passover.
Oh, okay. So you would disagree with 3 of the Gospels. You would disagree with Mark, Matthew, and Luke, which say that he was executed on the preparation day. Or wait, no, which say that he was executed on the preparation day. Yeah.
They said there's a preparation day.
Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry, I'm going to get confused. So the Last Supper appears in Matthew, Mark, and Luke. So according to Matthew, Mark, and Luke, they say that he was executed on Passover. But according to John, he was not executed on Passover. He was executed on the preparation day.
And I wouldn't argue. I wouldn't know which day. I wouldn't argue and hold my answer to that. I would go according to what would be recorded. I do think, I don't believe in inerrancy of Scripture, so I don't think that Scripture is fully inerrant. And, there's obvious proof that, going back to your conversation about the flood, there's no way that there'd be, that there was a flood that covered the world. And, the whole Genesis account makes no sense. And then also, if you're defending that God's all just and all loving, that doesn't make sense with the Old Testament. So, I think, if I look at scripture, and the Bible specifically, I think it's more of a reflection of man's attempt at reaching God versus God's attempt at reaching man. And Jesus is the example of God reaching to man. But then you have, the Bible, which is written, and it's examples of God trying to make a footprint on earth, but man trying to make sense of that, reaching out and creating fables of its time to kind of point to a higher existence. And I think that's the hard thing about faith and religion in general is these are all things that happened in the past, and so it kind of boils down to how do we even get here? That's the question I think science points out of. It's the Big Bang. And then some people say it's something that exists out of, it has to be something that's outside of, because of cause effect. It would have to be God. But then what's the cause of God? So, at the end
Wait, can I, and I'm sorry to intercede. So it seems like then we agree that the Bible can be like unreliable at some parts insofar as it was like written by humans, which just like kind of casts doubt on a lot of it for me, that it makes it really hard to accept insofar as we have really good reason to think that humans probably weren't like 100% like on it for all of this. And I just don't know how much I can accept from like many texts which were written anonymously. But in terms of like where did everything come from, I think the universe has always existed because I think that time has always existed. And I can prove that to you if you're interested.
I think that's fascinating. Yes.
Yeah. So I'll give you an argument for that. It has 5 premises. 1, a beginning is a change of states. 2, a change of states is a change. 3, a change requires a before and after. 4, a before and after requires a past, present, and future. And 5, a past, present, and future require time. Do you disagree with any of those, or do you want the premises one more time?
Premises one more time, and
yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, let's just go one at a time. So, do you agree or disagree that a beginning is a change of states?
Beginning is a change of states. I would think beginning is the start of a new state.
Yeah, exactly. So it would, it's a change insofar as that state wasn't there originally and then it became there.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's a change of states. Do you agree that a change of states is a change?
Yes.
Yeah, and you agree that change requires before and after?
Yes.
And do you agree that a before and after requires a past, present, and future?
Before and after requires a past. Yeah, I would say a past, present, and future.
And do you agree that a past, present, and future requires time?
Yes.
Okay, so then just going from all these premises, we have that in order to have a beginning, time must already exist. So time itself cannot have a beginning because time must always exist. Otherwise, we have that if time does have a beginning, then time existed before time has a beginning because time is necessary for beginnings to happen at all. So you would have a time where time does not exist, but that doesn't make any sense. That's just a direct contradiction, which means that time has always existed. And because space-time is, because time is like intimately linked with space, that means space is always also, has also always existed.
Okay. And so you would say that life as we know it, or existence as we know it, is an eternal loop.
Not necessarily, just that time has always existed in some form. It could be a loop. It's totally possible. It's like a circle, and it just like circles back in on itself in each iteration of whatever. But no, I could just say that time stretches back forever. Yeehaw, thank you so much. Which means that the universe stretches back forever, which means that the universe doesn't have a creator.
Okay, and so we say universe doesn't have a creator, but then how did everything that we know come to be?
Like everything in like this iteration of the universe.
Exactly.
So I could just say that the current universe as we know it arose via cycles of like big bounces and big crunches. We have like lots of evidence that the universe is going to like rapidly contract insofar as dark energy gets weaker over time. Which means that eventually the universe is going to stop expanding and then gravity is going to start reeling stuff in. So it's going to start contracting. And when it starts contracting, then at that moment in time, it could undergo like another big bounce, and that's just like another thing in the cycle.
Which makes sense. And I guess what I would point at is, these are concepts that what I love about science is that science is measuring based on what we know to answer questions we don't know, but it's trying to, pursue in a intellectual, honest way, how do we find these answers? And, I would say that I lean towards that scientific approach. I still think with what we understand in creation that there has to be some level of faith. And I think this is where I do get frustrated with like God of the gaps conversations, because it's like in our unknowing, we just fill in God in that picture. And so, I personally don't hold super fast, like even saying that there's not inerrancy of scripture. There is a legitimate argument that God isn't real. And there is a question mark of who was Jesus, who were his disciples, was that just a regular man? And also it's still, how did all this come to be? And is there?
Yeah, definitely.
So, to me, it's more this curiosity of how the hell is all this happening? And is it just this, cycle of universes where we contract and then we, come back? Is that, all these black holes form and then it creates this supermassive black hole and then it creates such an infinite spot that it just, creates the Big Bang? Is that kind of this loop that we're in? To me, it's those kind of, it gets to this point of, could there be something outside of that? And to me, it's never going to be answered.
Yeah, well, I mean, it seems like I don't know, it seems like we're just going to be at a point where we agree to disagree, because I obviously can't accept something just based off of faith. And it seems like you probably have like personal reasons for accepting something based off of faith.
I feel like I'm very open to either. Yeah, I wouldn't die on the hill. I think it makes a lot of sense why someone wouldn't believe. But I was more curious of what you thought about the martyrs and what that looks like.
What I think about them is just that there's historical evidence that I think like maybe 3 or 4 of them got martyred. But the deal is going to be that there's no evidence that they got martyred in the name of like the resurrection, or the name that like Jesus is the Son of God, or in the name of like even anything like magical. That there's like nothing from the Bible that they got martyred from, or that they got martyred for. There's just no evidence of that. And there's definitely not evidence that like 10 of them got martyred. That's for sure.
It definitely makes me want to go read up on that. I think would be more interested in.
If you're interested in like a book recommendation that casts like pretty crazy doubt on the resurrection, I think it's titled like The Resurrection of Jesus, like a critical inquiry or something like that.
I will definitely read it. Yeah. I just came across a book, and I was chatting with someone about it, where there is a lot of evidence that there were psychedelics in the early church. And I think it would be a natural way to explain the supernatural explanation of the life of Jesus, which is also very interesting. So, that's a hard thing about pointing to the past to dictate the present or future.
Yep. Well, do you have anything else for me, or should I move on to the next guest?
Definitely move on. Thanks for chatting.
Yep. Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate that so much. Damn, I should have dropped that person a follow, because I'm trying to collect good guests so that all the streams can be as good as that one. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen. What's up, Gustav? How's it going?
Hello?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. How old are you?
I'm 17.
You got to be 18 or older to join.
Yes.
Sorry.
I was.
I mean, unfortunately, you did already say the words, which will get you removed by TikTok. So, kidding or not, that is unfortunate. Hey, what's up? How's it going? What's up, Leslie? Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, by the way. Let's get to 130K likes. That's just like 10, or that's like 20 likes from each of you. So if y'all were tapping on that screen, we would be there already. But make sure you're dropping a follow as well. Leslie, if you're off the TikTok app, you need to return to the app. Otherwise, I can't hear you. Oop, I accept your surrender. Folded like a chair. scrambled like an omelet, reformatted like a hard drive, get your ankles absolutely shattered, you will never debate again. What's up, Laura Lee? How's it going?
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing well. How old are you?
I am 22.
And what religion are you?
I'm a Christian.
So, what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience?
I would say a pretty strong point is that the worldwide calendar is based off of the death of Jesus Christ. So we live in the year 2024, 0 marking the death of, or the death or even the resurrection of Jesus Christ, and that Jesus is the only commonality in every religion across the world. Muhammad acknowledges him. All of them do. The Quran does. They regard him as the only God that is not angry, but that was lived in true love and true faith.
So, and I could be mistaken, but I thought Jesus was unalived in like 40 AD. But I don't think that's true. I think people say AD and they think that it means like after death, but it actually stands for like something that's like Latin. Also, I mean, Jesus isn't part of like Judaism, for example, and he's not a part of like Hinduism.
He's not a part of the religions, but in every single book that is about the religion, they do recognize that Jesus Christ did exist.
Well, in any book that's like about Christianity, if it's written by people who believe that Jesus existed, like, I mean, you can't say that all religions believe that Jesus existed when in fact there was like lots of religions that make no mention of Jesus.
No, they mention Jesus existed, but they don't acknowledge the fact that he was the one Son of God or the true creator, because they worship the other people in their own, and Jesus was also the only, not Jesus, God is the only God that exists in all religions that did not die. Every other religion, every God died.
No, so in like Islam or like, I don't know, in like Islam or Judaism, where does the God die?
Judaism, that is Judaism or Hinduism? Is that like karma and everything?
Well, that's Hinduism, but I'm asking in Judaism, where does their God die?
Can you refresh the facts of Judaism?
It's just like the Torah. It's like the first 5 books of the Bible.
Okay.
So where in the first 5 books of the Bible does God die?
No, so Judaism does have a base in Christianity, so the God doesn't die in Judaism.
No. Christianity has a basis in Judaism. It's the other way around.
I mean, yeah, the same thing. That's kind of what I meant, but
no, these are very different. So, I mean, like, what about Islam? Like, where does their God die?
So Islam actually is also rooted in Christianity. If you go into the book of Genesis, it talks about the birthright charts and it goes through all the genealogy and things. And I'm not refreshed on the name, but basically whenever this person that came through the Islam was started, sorry, my mind's kind of all over the place. He basically spoke over their generation saying that they would be born in violence and anger. And then if you go down the line, it goes out into that. It's all connected in the genealogy. There's an app called Enduring Word, which actually goes back and records all historical documents from the Bible and leads them back to historical text. And if you have no basis in the Bible, which I've been listening for 30, and you said that you didn't, but
well,
it also
I don't believe the Bible is real. There's like lots of contradictions in the Bible, and there's lots of things that definitely didn't happen, like the flood, for example, or like there's no evidence for the resurrection, and lots of contradictions among the resurrection.
Well, there was 3 or 4 eyewitnesses of the resurrection. The flood happened because that's where we get mountains, and that's where we got the break from Pangea, because the world was once one. And then there was erosion under the ground of water, which made all the continents separate, and that's how.
Prove it.
Well, you can say the same thing about any history book that you read. How do you prove that George Washington existed? Because there was plenty of witnesses. There was also
no, because we
witnesses
literally
in the
have George
Bible.
Washington's writings. We have people who attest to we have the writings of like lots of other people that were extremely well preserved. We have no writings from Jesus, and we have no idea who wrote large parts of the Bible.
But you can say the same thing about a lot of history books too.
Which ones?
is not the fact on which specific ones, because then you're just arguing that every book in the world, but any book that you believe, or it takes faith to believe in any book.
That's not true, because you have evidence for all of these things. Faith is going to be a belief in the absence of evidence. But if I have evidence that this is the writings of George Washington because it was preserved since the time of George Washington, then I have evidence that George Washington actually existed. That's not faith, that's evidence.
But it's faith that he did exist based off of the witnesses and eyewitnesses. There was the same thing in the Bible.
So faith is going to be a belief in the absence of evidence. If there's evidence, then it's not faith. So there's no faith involved in my belief because I have evidence for my belief.
You have evidence from other people that you put your faith in.
No, because I have evidence that this is actually going to be George Washington's written work insofar as it's preserved as such. It would take a more of a leap to say that every single person is just lying about this, that all of the people who come in and like examine and carbon date the pages, that they're just lying about it, that all the people who do like the handwriting analysis, that they're just lying about it. That would be a crazy claim to just adopt this conspiracy when so many people's jobs and lives have been dedicated to the preservation of these works, and there's nothing to be gained from lying about these things. I have literally no reason to think that these people are lying.
Well, I just don't get where everything you're saying about these books, why don't you view the Bible in the same way?
Because the Bible makes supernatural claims and we have no idea who the authors are.
Well, do you believe Socrates existed?
Yeah, I do, because we have writings about him from Plato, Aristotle, Aristophanes, Hegesias. Like literally everybody who existed at the same time as Socrates is writing about this dude. And we have these works very well preserved. And we have works that mention the works, or that mention all of these works that are true to the work itself, that will have what was it? It was Diogenes the historian, who was making commentary about Plato and some of Plato's specific works. And then we find the works and they are in fact exactly as Diogenes described them, which gives us really strong evidence that these are the accurate works, and that Plato is portraying an accurate Socrates.
Well, that goes back to the Bible thing too, because if you say, well, so-and-so lived in the same era as them, they all wrote about him. That's the same as Mark.
Who are the people who lived in the same era as Jesus and wrote about him?
Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Oh, but that's not going to be the case though, because these gospels were written anonymously and they were written half a century after the fact. So, and also the Book of John would have been written by an illiterate fisherman. Why would I believe that this beautiful, perfectly written Greek prose was written by an illiterate fisherman? That just seems implausible.
Okay. Have you read Saul to Paul?
Saul to Paul?
Saul to Paul. King Saul turned into Paul. He was and this is in all the records too, but he was a mass murderer. I'm familiar with the story of Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a
so if you accept Paul's works, then you'd have to be a Mormon, because there's no reason why you can accept Paul, but you wouldn't accept the testimony of Joseph Smith.
What do you mean?
So Joseph Smith also claims to have visions of Jesus, and then he founded Mormonism. So if you accept the testimony of Paul on the basis that he saw Jesus, then you would also have to accept Joseph Smith, and you'd have to go become a Mormon.
Well, I would have to become a Mormon for why?
Yep. Because if what you're referencing is just that Paul. So first of all, Paul actually didn't become Saul. He just had two names. People at that time had a Greek name and I think a Hebrew name. I forget what the second one is, but to make themselves more palatable when they traveled around. So they did there was no name change in this. That's a common misconception. But the reason why you would have to accept, if you accept what Paul is saying because he had a vision of Jesus, then you would also have to accept what Joseph Smith says because he had a vision of Jesus, which means that you would go and become Mormon.
Okay, so you're saying because Paul didn't actually see Jesus in real life.
Well, he had a vision of him, supposedly.
Right, but you're saying that it would have to be Mormon because he didn't see him physically?
No, so just that it would if this is the standard of evidence, then it applies to like Joseph Smith. So okay, so Joseph Smith had a vision of Jesus, and I think like the 1800s or whenever Joseph Smith lived, and from this vision of Jesus, he went and founded Mormonism. Now, if the evidence you require to say that this person is telling the truth about things is just like they saw Jesus, if that's going to be your evidential foundation for accepting Paul, then that means that you also have to go and become a Mormon because Joseph Smith has the exact same evidentiary basis.
Can I ask you a question? Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
So I was listening earlier, and I heard that you were once a Christian. Why did you change out? Just from the whole physical evidence thing? Because I heard
just
that
logic,
you said,
yeah.
well, you said you had faith. What happened to your faith?
Oh, I mean, I just just swapped it out for logic. I just got asked a question that I had literally no answer to. And I can ask you the same question. I don't know if you'll have an answer to it. Can God make a rock that's so heavy he can't lift it?
No.
Oh, so then God's not all powerful.
No, I'm saying that he can't make something that he can't lift. That's not possible. He can do anything. Everything is possible.
Oh, so he can do everything, but also there's a thing he can't do.
Which is what?
Make a rock that's so heavy he can't lift it.
I don't think I'm understanding the question. I said no because...
So does God have the power to make a rock that he does not have the power to lift?
Power to make a rock, the power that he doesn't have to lift. I mean, if that was his purpose and he said that, I'm confused.
Yeah, well, it's just that, like, you can't have all the powers because then that just leads to contradictions. Because then you would both have the power to make a rock that's so heavy you don't have the power to lift it, and then you would have the power to lift the rock that's so heavy that you don't have the power to lift it. So you're lifting a rock with powers that you don't have, which is a contradiction. You can't have the power to lift a rock that you don't have the power to lift, which means that God would have to be illogical.
Is this the question that made you turn your faith?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Do you think that the question was valid enough to change your faith?
Yeah, it's like certainly logical, yeah.
I don't see where there's logic in the question.
It means that God can't be all powerful.
Why? What? I'm sorry. I don't understand. I'm trying to understand. I just can't wrap my head around the question.
Yeah. I mean, what would your answer be? Like, does God have the power to lift a rock that he doesn't have the power to lift?
God is all powerful.
But that's a yes or no question. Does he have the power to lift the rock that he doesn't have the power to lift?
He has the power to make anything, and he has the power to move everything.
So then you would say that God does have the power to lift a rock that he doesn't have the power to lift?
No, because the question in itself is contradictory. You're basically setting up a trap to ask if God is not able to do this, but able to do this. God is able to do everything.
So the question itself isn't contradictory. What's contradictory is the idea that God has all powers. The question indicates that God cannot have all powers because some powers are contradictory. They would contradict with themselves.
Like which ones?
So if you had the power to make a rock that you don't have the power to lift, would contradict with your power to lift the rock that you don't have the power to lift.
But where does like the logic and the basis of this question come from?
Just from the law of non-contradiction, just that like contradictions can't exist in reality.
Do you have another like version of that question? Because that one
sure.
is just contradictory.
So does God have the power to make the sun both exist and not exist at the exact same time?
If he wanted to, yes. It's all within his will. Everything is within his will.
So then you think it's possible that the sun could both exist and not exist at the exact same time? That the sun could be doing both of them?
God could do that.
But you think it's
can't.
possible for that to be the case, that the sun both exists and doesn't exist at the same time? So you would just reject the law of non-contradiction. So in logic, if a thing is contradictory, then it's not true. If we have like a circle which is also a square, we can conclude that that doesn't exist because there would be a contradiction in something being both a circle and a square. But if what you're positing is the existence of like a sun that both exists and doesn't exist at the same time, if you think that that's a possible thing, then that means that you believe in like contradictions, which means that the worldview just becomes nonsense, that nothing means anything anymore because contradictions are true.
But asking a question that is contradictory, you get a contradicting answer. You're not asking a simple question.
The question
not a
itself
yes or
isn't a
no.
contradiction.
It is, though, because he can do anything, but if he can make a rock heavy, then he can lift the heavy rock. Saying that making something and then not being able to do anything with it is a contradiction within itself.
So the contradiction here doesn't arise from the question. The contradiction arises from the idea that God has all powers. In order to get out of this question, and there are ways out of this question, but in order to get out of this question, what you would need to do is limit God's power. You would have to say God is not all powerful in that sense. And if you want like a good remedy to this question, what you would say is perhaps like God has the power to do all logically possible things, that God cannot do contradictions, but God could do like logical things. And that's fine, but this is just saying that God does not have all powers, that there's some powers that God doesn't have.
But this is all based off of speculation on a question that he doesn't have all of these powers. There's no like real basis behind it. There's no logic to it.
Oh, so maybe we'll do just like a more concrete example then. That's fine. Does God have the power to make a sword which cuts through anything?
Yes.
Does God have the power to make a shield which can't be cut through?
Yes, but these are both contradicting things that you're doing. These are not solid. Because they all
What would
point
happen if
back
you
to the other thing.
What would happen if you swung the sword which cuts through everything at the shield that can't be cut through?
What does this have to do with God?
Because God's illogical. The idea that someone can do anything, that they're all powerful, is illogical.
I'm trying to see where you're coming from, but I don't really feel like. So this whole thing is basically saying that God is not all powerful because he could create something that could contradict with something else he created.
So either God is not all powerful or God is illogical. These are the two like ways out that you have. Either that God is not all powerful because he can't do logically contradictory things, or God is nonsensical. He's illogical.
Where is an example where God would be not all powerful?
I just gave you one where he creates. So
Yeah,
if
but
you
this
limited
never
gods,
happened, though.
so if you want to get out of all of these, you can get out of all these by just saying, well, God has the power to do all logically possible things. God cannot do things that are logically contradictory. If you wanted to say that, then that gets you out of all of these like pretty easily. But at that point, God is no longer all powerful. He's just like mostly powerful. Or he has like the power to do like all logically possible things, which is fine. And listen, like if I were in your position, that's the remedy I would take. I would say, well, God can do all things that are logically possible, but you can't affirm that God has the power to do literally anything. Otherwise, you run into nonsense.
Well, God being all powerful is not going to be some logic that we can just wrap our head around so easily because he literally exists outside of time. He's all knowing and all powerful. Our minds are so much further down than his. His mind, he has greater thoughts than our thoughts. So when we think all of these questions, he sits there and laughs because these aren't serious questions. These are just questions trying to defer people from God. Because they're questions that aren't easily answered because they don't exist.
Yeah, so if that's the solution you want to go with, you're not going with the solution that God is not all powerful. The solution you're going with is that God is illogical. And there's no reason to believe in things which are illogical.
These aren't solutions.
Well, it is. Like your solution is to say that God's logic is like different than our logic. So God violates our logic, which means God is illogical, definitionally.
Is there something whenever you were exploring your faith, other than that question, the
Nope.
illogical question, that was the only one
That was the
made you
only
go
one,
down that
yeah.
rabbit hole?
The only one. No, there wasn't like a bad event that happened. There's like no trauma there.
I'm not
I don't
asking
have like
any trauma or
no, that's
anything. I
fine.
just didn't know if it was completely based off of that
No,
question.
it literally was that question in 8th grade. And then I realized that there's no answer to this question, none whatsoever.
Was
Which
like a
isn't true,
teacher
right? Like
asked you that
there are
question?
answers to the question. I know now after like reading a lot more, but at that point I had better reasons to not believe in God.
What were the better reasons?
Oh, I mean, the reason that I think is like the reason that I'm running right now is okay. Wait, do you think we get our souls at conception, or do you think we get our souls at birth?
I think the souls exist before birth.
Okay, so
Before
you think that the
conception.
souls exist at conception. So the reason why I don't believe in God right now is because God designed anatomy such that 300 billion children die before birth, under your view. Why would God design anatomy such that 300 billion children, billion with a B, by the way, there's only like 7 billion people in the world right now. 300 billion children have been unalived based on like just anatomy before birth via things like miscarriages or like stillbirths or like failure to implant or any other number of things. So God would be responsible for designing anatomy in such a way that it led to the death of, in your view, 300,000 children. Or wait, not 300,000, 300 billion. Big difference.
No, so all of those things did not come directly from God. That became from the fall whenever we sinned and then brought sin into the world, because he created the world perfectly, because he wanted to make us in his own creation and live in peace with us. And then when Adam and Eve directly disobeyed him, that brought sin into the world, which brings all things wrong. So miscarriages and everything is a defect of our sin from way down the line.
Did our
Because he
anatomy
put us-
change?
Anatomy?
Yeah, because this is a problem that miscarriages are a problem that arise from our anatomy. So if our anatomy did not change, then God would be on the line he would be on the hook. He would be morally responsible for each and every one of these child deaths.
Death is from the enemy. He is not responsible of death.
Oh, but is God responsible for the way our bodies are designed?
Yes, he is. But
Perfect.
because
So our
it is,
bodies are designed such that they result in things like miscarriages and stillbirths.
they are, because we are faulted humans. We are not perfect. We were built in the image of Christ, but we ruined that image whenever we decided to sin. So now we all have faults in our bodies.
Okay, so did our anatomy change from the fall? Are we made in God's image or are we not?
We are made in God's image.
So our anatomy is the same as it was and always has been.
Anatomy should be the same, but outside influences brought in internal factors.
Oh, wait, so is our anatomy the same or is it not the same?
I said it is the same.
Perfect. So what outside factors cause miscarriages and by what mechanism? Because it seems an awful lot like miscarriages are just a flaw in our anatomy.
Yes, we are now flawed because we did fall.
So our anatomy did change, so we are not made in God's image.
We are made in God's image.
So then
but
our
because-
anatomy didn't change and God's responsible for the 300 billion deaths.
No, the devil is responsible for the 300,000 deaths.
So did our anatomy change or did it not change?
Okay, let's go back. We were made in God's image, and we were perfect in God's, or not perfect, but close to his image. And then whenever Adam and Eve committed sin, we brought sin into the world. So maybe right after sin, the anatomy may have changed a little bit afterwards. We are still made in his image, but we are wholly flawed because of what we brought onto ourselves. Whenever he said in Genesis that now men are going to have to work harder on the ground, get soil to get the plants. The earth's anatomy changed after the fall because he made it perfect and we made
I'm
it
not
not
asking about the Earth's anatomy. I'm asking about our anatomy. So our anatomy did change. So how can we be designed by God if we now exist in a state that was not designed by God?
because we put ourselves in this state.
Oh, did we put ourselves in the state? Did all the 300 billion babies who die, did they put themselves in that state?
That is just the way of living in the world that we live in now. Because
Do the
we have
babies get to
made-
live in the world?
What are you arguing that? So you're saying that all these miscarriages are directly from the hand of God Himself?
Just that God designed the body such that it would have like miscarriages and stillbirths, which resulted in, over the course of all of human history, 300 billion dead babies, under your view, of course.
So you just acknowledge that God is real because God
It's
has
an
a hand
internal
in
critique.
miscarriages.
So what I'm doing here is we're presupposing your worldview. I'm pointing out from how your perspective there should be contradictions. That if we assume your worldview, then that leads necessarily to contradictions. That's what I'm doing. I'm showing you the problems with your worldview. I'm not adopting your worldview or saying that your worldview is actually true.
Okay, so what is your believing of why miscarriages happen?
Well, I think that that's just going to be like an evolutionary factor, that evolution doesn't create perfect designs, it creates functional designs, which is why there's like tons of miscarriages and like stillbirths. But regardless, despite all of this, there are still enough births that it's outweighed and the population is able to continue to grow.
So you're saying at one point we were really good and then we evolved into our bodies not being able to, because that's what
That's not what I'm
evolution is.
saying. Nope. No, so I'll run that back one more time. So my argument is not that we evolved into an imperfect state. It's just that we were never perfect. Our body was never perfect at any point in the history of history. We were never like perfect organisms. We were always like functional organisms, and because we were functional enough to reproduce and create more of our species. But functional is not perfect, which is why over the course of history, like going back far distance, for every one person who actually gets born, there was 3 like fetuses or embryos who failed to implant or like resulted in a miscarriage or resulted in like a stillbirth. That for every one person, we had like 3 that didn't make it.
Okay.
So I think the reason I don't believe in God now is because it seems an awful lot like God hates children.
God loves children.
Then why does he kill so many of them?
He doesn't kill them.
Then why did he design our anatomy to kill so many of them?
He didn't design our anatomy to kill people.
So then what changed about our anatomy?
The fall changed everything.
But in what way did it change our anatomy specifically? What was different about our anatomy before the fall versus after?
Our anatomy before. Okay, so if you go back to Genesis, children were not born until after the fall.
But what about our anatomy changed? Because God commanded for the repopulation of the earth before the fall.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Because God commanded for the repopulation of the world before the fall. So what changed about our anatomy fundamentally?
We were just flawed. That's the only answer I can give you, is that it was from our own hand.
So what changed about our design? Like what
I'm not sure
specifically?
what
Because we're physical beings, we have atoms. So what anatomically changed? What parts did we lose? What parts did we gain? Like what changed?
I don't think we necessarily lose or gain. I think it was just, like I said earlier, outside influences that affected our internal factors. So when the world was perfect, everything around it was perfect. All the food and the environment was perfect. And then after the fall, the world changed. And then maybe, something happened in the environment that affected us, as it still does today. I think it could kind of be like an evolutionary process, like you were saying, just because of what happened after the fall. The world was not perfect anymore, so our bodies couldn't be perfect because we didn't live in a perfect atmosphere.
Wouldn't our design have been better if miscarriage wasn't possible despite like outside factors? If no matter like what the outside factors were, it never resulted in like a miscarriage? Wouldn't that have made our design better?
Yeah, but then everything would be perfect, and we're not
Wait,
designed to be
wait.
perfect.
That's not everything. That's just our design being perfect. So, okay. From this, so do you think God is perfect?
Yes.
Okay. If God is perfect, do you agree that God is a perfect designer?
Yes.
And if God's a perfect designer, do you agree that God's design is perfect?
His design was perfect before the fall.
But was it perfect? His design was it? Yeah. So, but his design didn't change. It just got like
Well, no,
it just got
actually,
attacked by like external factors, right?
Actually, I take back what I said. Sorry. God is perfect. I don't think creation was ever perfect because in Genesis,
is
he
God a
said it was
perfect
good.
designer?
God is perfect within himself. I think he designed a lot of things that work perfectly within each other, just like the world around us, the animals.
Chris,
the
thank you
earth.
so much for the 5-cent subscriptions. Let's get a W, Chris, in the comment section. Welcome to the community, everyone who received it. I really appreciate that, Chris. Chris, you've been going crazy with subscriptions, and I really appreciate you. Okay, wait. So, is God a perfect designer?
I think that our view of perfect is different from his view of perfect.
But in his view, is he a perfect designer?
He is perfect within himself. I don't think he makes his designs to be perfect because Earth is not perfect.
Can I get a yes or no answer? Is he a perfect designer?
It's not a simple yes or no answer. The whole thing is not a simple
So
yes or no answer.
either yes, he is a perfect designer, or no, he is not a perfect designer.
He is a perfect person. He is a perfect God, but as
is he
his
a perfect
design,
designer, though? I just need an answer to the question.
there is no yes or no answer to that question
It's a yes or no question, so how can there not be a yes or no answer?
because that answer does not exist.
Does it not exist, or does both paths lead to bad places for you? Is it that the answer doesn't exist, or is it that you don't want to answer the question?
No, it's that the answer doesn't exist because he designed us and we're not perfect, but he is perfect.
So a perfect
designed
God
us-
created an imperfect creation.
We can't be perfect or we would be on the same level as God.
I'm not asking for us to be like perfect beings. I'm asking, why isn't our design itself perfect?
We weren't made to be perfect. We were made to
we wouldn't be perfect, but just that like God designs us in a way that cannot be better. Like, so I could create a better design than God for the human body, is what you're saying.
You can make an idea of what you think would be better, but it wouldn't be.
Oh, okay. Wait. So it's not possible for there to be a better design for the human body. Is that correct?
Realistically, no.
Oh, okay. So earlier you said, I asked you the question, wouldn't our design have been better if it didn't result in miscarriages, no matter what the external factors are? And you said, yes. So you've contradicted yourself because you said both, it's not possible for there to be a better design, but also that it is possible for there to be a better design.
No, I said that we could have an idea of what would be perfect, but it still wouldn't be in our daily life. We can't make human bodies to not have miscarriages. It's just the way that the world works. We are flawed human beings. We are not perfect.
Could God have made bodies to not have miscarriages?
I believe when we were created that he had that intention, but we messed it up with our own actions.
Oh, okay, wait. So, but did we change God's design? And in what way did we change God's design?
God, did we physically change his design? No, because we do not have that power.
What about God's design changed?
We didn't change his design. We let in other things to interrupt his design.
So is an interruption a change?
But it's not by our own hand. that things change. It's by
So
outside
by whose hand did our design change?
the devil.
Oh, okay. Cool. Wait, so could you prove the existence of the devil? What's the argument for that?
Why do you think you doubt that God is real?
Because there's no evidence for it. So what's the evidence that the devil exists?
He exists all around us. Why do you think that there's evil in the streets? Why do
Well,
you
I
think
think
that the miscarriages happen?
I think I've already explained the like evolutionary biological reasons why miscarriages happen, and I think there's evil in the streets because some people, through their upbringing, gain desires to do specific things, and these specific things are what we as a society categorize as evil. That's where I think evil comes from. So I'm asking you again, what's your evidence that the devil exists?
The evil comes from the devil.
Oh, so the devil exists because evil comes from the devil, which of course presupposes that the devil exists.
Yeah, he does exist.
Perfect. Oh, God. So it's just like one big circle. So it's a circular argument. So in order for me to believe in this argument, in order for me to believe that evil exists or that the devil exists because the devil exists, I would already need to believe that the devil exists. But I don't believe that the devil exists, which means that you need to find a different argument.
So what do you believe in?
Wait, I'm asking you to prove that the devil exists. Otherwise, we have no reason to think that God didn't design our anatomy this way, which means God is morally responsible for the death of 300 billion babies.
But for the devil to exist, you need to believe that God exists. So I can't
Yeah, so
prove
could
to
you prove
the
that
devil
God
doesn't
exists?
You say that you don't want personal interactions because personal interactions are real.
No, that's not why I say that I don't want them. Just that if I had the personal experience that you had, I'd still be an atheist. We have naturalistic explanations for all of them. They appear in every single religion. They're wildly unreliable, and they're different for every single person. I just have like a litany of reasons to not accept personal experiences as being like true evidence.
So where do you think the universe came from?
I think the universe has always existed. And I don't know, I could probably get you to agree that it always existed with just like a 5-premise argument if you're interested.
Okay.
Yeah, so the argument's just going to be that time always existed because time cannot have a beginning. Here's the argument. Let me know if you reject any one of these. So, whoa, Cod Clips, appreciate that. Thank you so much. And Shari, thank you so much. Appreciate that. So if something has a beginning, then that's a change of states. A change of states is a change. A change requires a before and after. A before and after requires a past, present, and future. And a past, present, and future requires time. Do you disagree with any of these, or do you want the premises again? Also, thank you. Let's get a W Cod Clips and a W Sherry in the comment section. Appreciate that. Appreciate y'all.
I don't disagree with the time thing.
Oh, perfect. So then time cannot have a beginning because in order for time to have a beginning, in order to have any beginning to anything, time must already exist. So time cannot have a beginning because if it did have a beginning, time would already exist. So we would have time existing before time exists, which is a contradiction, which means time cannot have a beginning.
Okay.
Billy, thank you. Appreciate that. Which means that the universe always existed because the universe is space-time.
But that could be the same argument for God always existed.
No, because God couldn't exist if the universe always existed, because in your view, God is the creator of the universe. But if the universe doesn't have a creator, then that doesn't make any sense.
Right. So how did time even come to be?
Time has always existed.
And God exists outside of time.
That's fine, but then you would just have to concede that the universe has always existed, which means that when you ask me, where did the universe come from? I can just say that it always existed. And that's also what you're, what you must believe as well. And in fact, you actually can't believe that God created everything because God didn't create time.
I think time is a construct for our minds and not God's mind, because he existed outside of time, because he's omniscient. He's everywhere all at once.
I think you mean omnipotent, but that's fine. But you would still just have to say that God did not create everything. Yeah, that he didn't create everything. That he didn't create time specifically is essentially what you would have to affirm. So do you agree that God did not create everything?
God created everything, but time is a limit for our own constructs because we don't exist outside of time. He does.
Okay, did God create time?
I think we created the idea of time, but he
Okay.
exists outside of time.
That's fine. So we understand the universe to be composed of to be composed of space-time, which means that the universe doesn't have a beginning. It's always existed. So then I don't need an explanation for how the universe came from, because it didn't come from anywhere. It just always existed.
So are you, is this platform where you're supposed to be educating?
I mean, I just enjoy philosophy debates.
Okay. Gotcha.
Do you have anything else, or should I move on to the next guest?
You can move on. I just want to let you know that even if you don't believe, that he's always there for you and that he does love you and that I love you too. And I hope you have a blessed rest of your day.
All right, appreciate it. Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends, all those good stuff, or all that good stuff. If you're in that guest request box, make sure that you are 18 or older, that you think God is real, and you have like real arguments that don't involve personal experience to prove it. Make sure you believe in the God of the Bible, Torah, or Quran. Double tap on that screen. Let's get all the way up to, let's call it 180K likes. That's just going to be 10 likes from each of you. That's easy to accomplish. I think all of you could accomplish that. If you want to support the stream, the Venmo is allegedly-ian, and the Cash App is just allegedly-ian. I appreciate any and all support. Thank you all so much. As we try to get the next guest, if you want to go play Yeehaw, thank you so much, Pete. Appreciate that. If you want to go play bingo, there's a link to the Discord in my bio. I would love to see you there. Only join if you're 18 or older, though. Hey, what's up? How's it going? How old are you?
14.
You got to be 18 or older to request to join. Sorry, it's TikTok terms of service. If you're not 18 or older, don't request to join. But make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. Hey, what's up? How's it going?
Hello.
Hey, how old are you?
18.
And what year were you born?
2006.
Okay, and what religion are you?
I'm Catholic.
Okay, so what's your strongest argument for the existence of God that does not involve personal experience? Silent, thank you so much. Appreciate that.
All right, so remember at the start, and it was your question you had, and you asked her, and it was like, if God created a sword that couldn't be broken, or a shield that couldn't be broken. Remember that one?
Yeah, wait, so let's do the easier version. Does God have the power to make a rock that God does not have the power to lift?
Well, I'm using that as an example, right? But then later on, you said that you believe that time always existed, so you believe in infinity, do you?
Yeah, I do believe in infinity, like an infinite
alright.
time, sure, yeah.
So, so you're a human brain, my human brain, you can't comprehend infinity. You know,
that doesn't
no
mean
matter
it
how
doesn't
much you
exist,
try.
though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't comprehend that God's able to make a sword or a stone or whatever that he can't break. You can't comprehend that. And you can't
Then
comprehend...
God's just nonsense. God's illogical.
But you can't comprehend infinity either, but yet you still, you still believe in it.
Wait, I actually take that back. I actually can comprehend infinity. Infinity is just the idea that something never ends. So if you took something, there's always going to be something after it and something before it. And that's just true of like all things, or of like anything that is infinite. Just that for whatever the infinite quantity is, in this case, it's going to be like time. It's going to be moments, instants, whatever the time unit is. There's just going to be another unit before it and another unit after it. Which means that, like, that's how I understand infinity, just based on those like basic principles. I actually think you probably can understand infinity.
Yeah, but it's like, no matter, like, you keep, say, infinity, like, your logic, like, the universe had no start and it doesn't have any finish. Yeah?
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Yeah, and you're not able to comprehend that the start of Earth, because I guess like it never started, like it
Oh
was
no,
always
wait,
there.
I can comprehend the start of Earth. I definitely can do that. That's like way easier. Just that we
Well,
know that the
no,
Earth
no, not the Earth,
formed.
the universe,
Oh,
like
well, the
the
universe
whole.
doesn't have a start.
Yeah, and it's like you can't comprehend, like the human brain, like physically can't
Wait.
comprehend that.
Can I just get the argument for why God is real? Because I'm just a bit confused. Where
Yeah,
this, like,
no,
I'm confused as to when we get to like, therefore God is real.
because the reason you don't believe in God is because that question that you got asked,
Oh no,
right?
no, no, no! Because now I have there actually are like really easy solutions for this, and it definitely isn't like, well, we just don't understand it. Because where you end up with that is that like if we don't understand it, why do we have any reason to think that God is real? Why do we have any reason to think that God isn't just going to send you straight to hell for believing in him, and then all the atheists get to go to heaven? Why do we have any reason to think that like literally God isn't just lying to us about all of this? If God's reasons are just like way higher than ours and we can't begin to understand it, then we can't make statements about God, which means literally anything could be true about God. And that's just nonsense. That's very silly. So I'm
So,
not.
do you
That's like
believe in?
that's a really bad solution to it. But a good solution to it would be to say, well, God can't do logical contradictions.
All right, do you believe in like science and like scientists and all?
I believe in the scientific method as arriving at better conclusions over time.
Yeah. So, if you believe what scientists or like what some scientists have to say, you believe them. But what makes you believe in like what makes you think that they're not lying?
Oh, I think that the scientists aren't lying because it's like repeatable, right? That we're capable of gathering like lots of evidence and doing their experiments over and over and over again, which gives me like genuinely just like no reason to think that they'd be lying about this. Also, they'd get like tons of backlash and their career would be ruined if they are lying about the experiments. I don't know. I have evidence that they're not lying about this insofar as other scientists build their experiments off of it. So I have two worldviews. One in which there's just a big like scientific conspiracy theory and it's just all lies, which seems unlikely to me, given my priors for what I would expect if that were the case. Versus a world in which like sometimes like some scientists like lie about some things and they like fudge the results a bit, but by and large scientists are telling the truth and accurately representing their studies because they have too much to lose by not doing so.
All right, and what makes you think that? What made you? Oh, what was my question, Shay? What makes you think that? What evidence is there that God isn't real?
Oh yeah, as I was going over with the last guest, okay, wait, do you think we get our souls at conception or at birth?
Conception.
Yeah, so then the reason why I would not believe in God in your worldview is just because there's like throughout the history of all of existence, there's been around like 500 billion humans, and 350 billion of these humans died from natural causes. 300 billion of that 350 billion died before they were even born. They died from like miscarriages and like stillbirths and failure to implant. That it seems pretty incompatible with an all-loving God to create the anatomy such that it kills 300 billion children. That seems like pretty fucked up.
I think it's more say, unloving of if a God made you to live on Earth away from Him for infinity. Because if you didn't die, you'd be here forever.
Yeah, maybe he could just give them like full lives though. Maybe the only options aren't like you live on Earth forever or you die before you even get out of the womb. Maybe we could have like something in the middle, like miscarriages and stillbirths don't happen, and everybody gets to live a full life.
I think God doesn't kill them for no reason. He kills. Well, not necessarily. He doesn't let them live because He knows that they'd be better off in paradise than whatever their life would be if they had to live it on Earth.
Oh, because you don't want to make that argument because that argument gets you into like terrible places. That this is like one egregiously unfair if you think all kids get like fast tracked to heaven, whereas everybody else is like slumming out with the rest of us. And two, this means that the population distribution of heaven is that we have 350 billion like dead children in heaven who just got fast tracked there. And then if we're being extremely generous, we maybe have like 5 billion Christians who are there. So heaven's population breakdown is 350 billion. It's like 99% dead children and like 5% good, honest, hardworking Christians who achieved salvation. Like 99% children, 1% Christians. That's what you think heaven's breakup is.
Well, I don't think like it's your soul. Like, not everyone's soul is like, you know, a baby will just like, that's just its body, but its actual soul is like in heaven. It will be different. You get me?
Well, yeah, because so 99% of the people in heaven got there because they were like babies who died, and then only 1% of the people in heaven got there because they earned it by being a good Christian. That's egregiously unfair.
Well, it's not like on earth. It's like God didn't just make humans. He didn't do all of that just so he can put them on earth. Like, I think there's so many people that didn't get to even live yet that are in heaven.
Oh, okay, wait, what? Can you run that one more time?
I don't think like, I think you're either like, whether you're in like God's pocket or something. Like, he didn't make you just to like put you on earth. I think you always existed, like either if that's like in his pocket or like in heaven or whatever.
Okay, that's like totally fine, but so just to be clear, you're fine with the conclusion that 98% of the people in heaven didn't earn it, and then the other 2% did earn it, but you think God is like just and fair?
Well, they never
how is it fair
the
that
chance to earn it.
98% of the well, yeah, but how is it fair that 98% of the people in heaven didn't earn it?
Because they never got to earth.
Yeah,
Like, they
that's what
never
I'm
got
saying.
the-
But they never earned it, right? So why couldn't God, why wouldn't God make it like design anatomy such that miscarriages didn't happen, stillbirths didn't happen?
Well, then, because I think he done that. So, because whatever like life they would get if they had to live on earth, if they like, if you know they didn't die in the womb or whatever, then that wouldn't be a good life for them and they wouldn't be able for it. So he puts them in paradise as soon as he can.
Oh, okay. So you're fine with that. So why doesn't God just make everybody in paradise?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Well, it seems like the right thing to do then, if God has no problem putting like lots of people who didn't earn it into heaven, then why doesn't God just put everyone into heaven?
Well, that's what, like, I don't know what, like, I don't know that. Like, I don't have all the answers, but I know, like, God does it for the best. I'm sure someone would know, but I don't.
Okay. Well, do you have anything else for me, or should I move on to the next guest?
You can move on.
Well, appreciate you coming on up here.
Bye.
Make sure you're double tapping on that screen, sharing it with your friends. I think I have to end stream soon because I have some obligations, but let's all go raid Mr. Jones, who's live on Mr.JonesX. Make sure you're dropping a follow if you never want to miss the debates in the future. If you want to join the community, there's a link to the Discord in my bio. Only join if you're 18 or older, but you'll get notified every time I go live. We talk about politics, religion, philosophy. You can ask me any questions if I didn't get to answer it here. I would love to talk to you, and you should definitely join. We do community nights every Saturday. I hang out in the VC in my server literally all the time. I love talking to people there. I'm really proud of the community I've built, and I would love for each and every one of you to be a part of it. I would love to get to know you. So only join if you're 18 or older, but there's a link to the Discord in my bio. I would love to see you there. I love all of you. Thank you so much for spending all this time with me. Again, we're going to go raid Mr.